and he grabbed my hands and he put them on his hands right up to my face so that I had to stare right at him. And he said, "Dr. Alexander, you've changed my life." And it was a special moment for me because I was still early in practice. Yeah. And it confirmed to me that, okay, I really can help a lot of people.
It's a profound thing that we do. Hello, and welcome to Chiro Kings Podcast, the podcast for all things chiropractic. And I'm Dr. Matt Alexander, and I'm here with my co-host, Dr. Chris Sankum.
Hello.
And we have a special guest today, Dr. Kurt Alexander, the founder of Alexander Chiropractic and the creator of Dr. Matt Alexander. I got my dad here today. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to learn about the origins of Alexander Chiropractic. Are you excited to be here?
It's a great pleasure.
Yeah, we flew you out today for this, didn't we?
Yeah, it was a great flight. Simple.
Yep. You live in Utah now, correct?
I do. 2-hour flight.
Yeah,
Hop on, get off. It's great.
Come back to the Bay Area. Well, hey, let's give the listeners what they're here for. They want to know how Alexander Chiropractic got started. So, first of all, how did you even learn about chiropractic? What got you into it?
Well, I think experience with a chiropractor is one of the things. When I was about 20 years old, I had the opportunity to go see somebody that was actually working in the chiropractic school clinic. And for years, I'd had headaches, migraines, and at about 20 years old, I started to have pain going down my arm. Now, some of that was from high school football and baseball, and mostly football. And then a water skiing accident actually was what really started to give me problems in my neck and down my arm and exacerbated the headaches. And so I was going to a regular family doctor who was always really good. But he sent me over to a surgeon who basically recommended that I have surgery on my neck. And I wasn't real interested in that, but so I started searching around. Anyway, I had a friend who referred me to a young man that was in chiropractic school, and he was doing his internship in the clinic, and I started to see him. First time I went in, he took x-rays, and that was when I got my first introduction to what chiropractic was. Never had seen a chiropractor before. Didn't know hardly anything about him because my parents had always taken me to our family doctor. And so when I went in and he took x-rays and he showed me the x-rays and he said, right here in your neck, you've got some misalignment and it looks like it's not probably moving very well. And that's right where the nerves come out and go down to the arm. So I started to think, wow, that's interesting. Never really knew anything about that. And he said, so I can probably take care of this. And he said, neck issues also tend to cause cervicogenic headaches. I don't know what that means at the time, but anyway, so he started to treat me chiropractically. The first time that he adjusted my neck, I thought I was going to die.
Oh, jeez.
I think to this day he may have been the roughest chiropractor I've ever seen. But that being said, had it not started to help pretty quickly, I may have never gone to a chiropractor again. But it did. I was one who the headaches in particular, the migraines, almost immediately stopped. And I'd had them for, probably 5-7 years, at least ever since I was in the beginnings of high school. And so I continued to go and see him, and probably within about a 3 to 4 week period, all my arm pain started to go away. My neck started to feel better. So at that age, 19, 20 years old, I was impressionable, having a sports and athletic background, loving to play the different sports and knowing what kind of injuries you get. I thought, wow, I thought maybe this could be something I could do. I was very interested in the body always, and the health of the body. And so he also explained to me the whole idea behind chiropractic and the science and the philosophy. And, when he started to talk about, the nerves that come out of the spine and how the brain is able to control your hand and your fingers and even the cellular growth in your body, it made sense to me. The idea that, your brain to your spinal cord to the nerves, whether it's your arm or your kidneys or whatever it is, made sense to me. Still, I didn't understand it all the way yet. So I started to do some research. Had been going to college and learning just regular, general education things. And I went into the career center and started looking up about chiropractic and found all sorts of things that were so interesting to me. And the research that had been done about chiropractic, how it got started. And I consider myself a pretty religious man, and I started to feel like I was leaning that direction, and I started to pray about it, and I felt really strongly that was the direction that I should go. And so I started on that path.
Was that when you were 19?
20.
So this was before, because you did serve a mission.
I did.
In Argentina, correct?
I did, yeah.
I know this stuff.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
So you figured out you wanted to be a chiropractor before you went to Argentina on your mission?
No.
Was it after?
That's after, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably, 2021 is probably when I mostly learned that initial part. It was after I came back.
Okay.
And the other thing that was on my mind and my heart was that as I served for 2 years in Argentina, and all you do, you go down and you just serve the people. That's all you do. There's no pay. You just get to do that. And I found that it was one of the things that made me probably as happy as I'd ever been in my life, was serving people. And I learned also by the end of that 2 years that, so you go down to serve other people, but I received such great benefit from that and learning to care for people and love people. And that was of great benefit to me. So coming off of that mission with these problems and being able to go to a chiropractor and seeing what's going on the health side of things, I thought, wow, I could be of great service, relieve a lot of suffering in this particular type of work. It was just, I was very impressionable and it felt good. And so I went that way, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because when I'm in school, or when I was in school, they start giving you all these different slogans and servitude, give, do, love, serve. And I wanted to get people out of pain. I understood the impacts pain has on our society. And every time they condemned getting somebody out of pain, I actually got frustrated because our school is very much centralized around the philosophy of chiropractic, which is beautiful. But pain brings people into the door. And when I kept on hearing all these slogans, give, do, love, serve, I was like rolling my eyes. Like, what are we doing here? Like, they're just going to teach me how to help people. And I get out of school, and it's all servitude. And it brings me the most gratitude. And helping people along the way get out of pain, it became a smaller aspect of just the actual giving and being that person for people that a lot of people go throughout life and they don't have anyone taking care of them. And that breaks my heart. They feel lost in our society. They don't have a doctor that's going to listen to them. They don't have that sense of community anymore. That's changed, and I'm sure you saw drastic changes in your practice over the years.
No doubt. Yeah.
So, what about so after chiropractic college, did you go straight to managing your own office, or how did that work?
No, my last 6 months, and then for a year after I graduated, I worked for another doctor who was very good. Taught me a lot of things that I didn't know just graduating from chiropractic school. I'm so glad that I did that.
What was his name, by the way?
Newell,
I think I
Dr.
was 4 at the
Gene
time.
Newell. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just a great man, a great chiropractor.
In California?
In California, yeah, in Hayward. And so, I found myself, as I went through chiropractic school, I was just getting more and more excited that this is what I was going to get to do, to help people, to try and stop the suffering and pain and help people live healthier lives. And so it was kind of like an accelerated thing that was going on inside me. So by the time I was getting ready to graduate, I was like, yes, I want to go help people, and I felt so good about it from the very beginning.
So you went to Life West as well, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So my dad and I both went to Life Chiropractic College West, and in fact, we had a lot of the same teachers.
Yeah.
Life West. For a long time, we both had Dr. Jerry Klum,
As the president.
who was the president, and he was a great man, good mentor to me. I know he really sparked a fire for me for chiropractic. I don't know if he did the same for you.
He sure did. Yeah, just wonderful man, wonderful family. Has done a lot for chiropractic in particular, and bringing it more mainstream.
Yeah, he's got a really great family too. Jerry did pass away a few years ago,
Right.
so he's greatly missed. But yeah, his daughters work at the school, Cassie and Lauren, and
There's no doubt his legacy lives on at the school.
yeah. He's just, all of his family are contributors to chiropractic.
That's great.
He's got a legacy.
Yeah, that's great.
So you were an associate for a year and a half
Mm-hmm.
in Hayward, and then you saw Livermore. What did you see in Livermore?
Well, pastures.
Some things have changed.
You grew up in Oakland. You grew up in Oakland.
I was born in Oakland, grew up in Oakland and San Francisco. So, yeah, metropolitan. And going out to Livermore, it's just far enough east, at least at that time,
Yeah.
1986, that it was just,
An oasis.
and the people were down to earth and cowboys and matadors and all sorts of things like that.
Did you choose the location for your practice or for your family first?
Family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Family. Well, I mean, the geographics of a practice was certainly on the front burner,
Yeah.
but family overall,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Very good.
So getting into your own practice, was it easy always? Was it hard? What were there challenges? What was it like kind of getting the practice going and building it up over the years?
It was hard. We went through some great trials during that time. We opened a practice from scratch. There was no patients walking in the door. And I, got some really great thumb exercising during
Wait for people to come in.
those first few years, yes.
How did you fund the practice in the very beginning?
We took out a loan and opened the doors with very little capital, and so it was a struggle in the beginning. But as people started to come in, and we'd try to get our name out there, and I'd go visit lots of doctors. At this point, I didn't realize way back then, anyway, there was some headbutting between medical doctors and chiropractors. I don't know if there still is or not.
There is definitely, but I think it's better.
Yeah, I feel it's less and less. I only run into a few of those headbutts.
Well, and there's much better education about chiropractic out there. I found that as I went through the years, anytime it looked like there was a doctor that was not friendly to chiropractic, I just befriended him and just was kind, tried to be kind and not argumentative in any way. And given the opportunity when they ask, then I would explain this is what we do, because a lot didn't at that time know what we did. And so to this day, I still have doctor friends in Livermore and around the area.
So what did my grandpa, your dad, think about you starting in practice? Was he supportive of it?
Yeah, he was. They didn't know much about chiropractic until I started to get into it, because they'd never been. And so I know my dad was very, very interested in the science and philosophy and how it all works. And he started, when I was able to start adjusting in the clinic, he started to come in early on, and so did my mother. And they were very supportive, very supportive.
I see my mom every week for maintenance.
Yeah.
Nice. So what were some of the ups and downs of practice? What were the hard? You said it was hard. You're waiting for patients to come in, building it up. Any other ups and downs that you experienced?
Well, I think trying to keep the doors open it was one of the main things. If I wanted to do what I wanted to do, that meaning help other people with their health, then I needed to keep the doors open. So there's a fine line between trying not to charge people too much, but charging enough to keep your doors open. So that was always hard.
Still a struggle today.
Yeah, I mean, you want people to everybody be able to get care. That was my philosophy, regardless of their ability to pay. And we have had that philosophy all the way up until probably now.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't advertise, that we would treat you regardless of your ability to pay, but that was our philosophy.
Yeah. We're here to serve first and foremost.
Yeah.
We got to feed our families, but I feel I don't know if you feel the same way, but I definitely feel I was a similar age when I decided I want to be a chiropractor, and I think I've told you my story too. Is when I was growing up, he would ask me if I wanted to be a chiropractor like my dad, and I would say no. And not because I didn't like it. It was just because, that's my dad's thing. I want to do something else. But when I was 19, when I was on my mission in Mexico, that's when I realized I wanted to be a chiropractor. And I felt that on the inside, like that was going to be a calling for me. And at least for me, I've never looked back. Like I would do it again, 1,000 times over. Have you always felt the same way? Have you ever doubted, like,
Nope.
should I maybe have done something else?
Nope.
Or
Do you still practice a couple days a week? Or is that coming to an end as well?
I do.
Yeah.
When we moved up to Utah, we have a son-in-law, a good man who married our daughter and Matt's sister. And he actually is a chiropractor. He's also a PhD in neuroscience. And he now is the dean of research at the Osteopathic College in Provo, Utah. And we have a clinic in that research area where we treat chiropractically patients.
And what do you guys focus on there?
We focus on migraines, actually.
Isn't that kind of full circle there?
It kind of is. It's kind of fun. And he's done so much research into that area in the lab. And he's got just a wonderful way of how he treats with migraine patients overall, and hits migraine from so many different directions, basically all the directions that could possibly be causing a particular person's migraines. And I have a lot of success, and I get to go in there. I retired and got up to Utah, and my wife and I went and served another mission. And then I got all my projects done when I came back in the yard and around the house. And then I was like back to when I was first in practice, twiddling my thumbs and getting bored. And then Kyle, our son-in-law, called me up and he said, I got this practice going here, and would you like to come over and adjust patients? And I said, yes. How long? For how many days?
Yeah.
I'm getting up in age a little bit, and so he said, "How about maybe a couple hours a day, maybe 3 days a week. And I said, I can do that. And so I just have a tremendous amount of enjoyment and fun going in for a few hours during the week and treating patients still. And I was feeling when I was twiddling my thumbs there that, man, I'm kind of wasting my hands and my knowledge and my experience. So I was so excited to be able to start adjusting, and still am doing that.
Let me ask you something, and this sounds like kind of woo-woo out there. I always felt that there was something special about my hands. Like I could feel the misalignments in a patient's spine. I had the healing touch. Did you always feel like you had that, or did you feel like it grew over the years?
It grew. Yeah. In fact, right at first, I remember being in a motion palpation class in chiropractic school, and the instructor was telling us, feel right here, feel that. Do you feel that? I didn't feel nothing. I could not feel anything. He said, no, right there. And he's like, so, but then after a little bit, you start to feel what you're supposed to be feeling in there. And, the spinous process, any swelling, the transverse processes of the spine, swelling, spasm, all that stuff you start to learn to feel and what it feels like. But, you certainly don't know everything when you get out of school.
That's for sure.
And I know that I don't know everything now, but I know that I know a lot more than when I got out of school.
Yeah, in chiropractic college, we would do a practice with a phone book and a piece of thread.
Oh, yeah.
And you would see how many pieces of paper you could feel the thread through.
How many did you get through?
I couldn't feel anything. But over time, like you said, it develops. And it's just funny to look back on those times because, especially with an open concept, high volume office that we run in Livermore, if a patient doesn't know what we're doing and they're sitting in the waiting room, it looks like we're doing the same thing to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's not true. It's very specific to what we're palpating that day, what our findings are showing us. It's the clinical aspect.
From 20 feet away, they can't tell.
They can't tell.
Up on an L1,
right.
2,
It
3,
looks the
4,
same.
5,
But the
SI
specificity
joint.
in chiropractic leads to the results that we put our brand behind, our name
Well,
behind.
and you mentioned your hands, I still remember when I first started to be able to feel alignment issues, a rotated spinous or a wedged vertebrae or, certain types of spasms and
You just got to get your
swelling.
hands on thousands of people.
And so you do start to feel like, okay, my hands are important.
Yeah.
To helping people and to practice, and as you go along, you'll find, and probably already have, that you continue to feel things better, and you continue to learn how to treat people and how to best help them and lift them and help them be healthier. And I know, I wished I would have known when I first started in the first few years what I know now, because I probably could have helped people even better.
Yeah.
Not to say that I didn't have great education and great mentors, but and so that's probably one of the reasons why I started to have students come over and work in the practice and do internships and preceptorships, residency type things.
You did a year with that doctor, you said. I did 2.5 years.
Right.
With you, and to be honest, those were 2 of my favorite years in practice.
I think I remember when you first came out, and also when Kyle, our son-in-law, came out. One of the most important things I probably ever did was stick my hands on your hands when you were adjusting, and you had been adjusted a lot beforehand, so you kind of knew. But placing my hands right on a young doctor's hands and helping them to feel what they should be feeling, and then the adjustment and how to best adjust somebody's spine with gentleness, yet enough to be able to move what you need to move, but not too much. That's something that you develop over years, and I think most of the chiropractors that ever worked for me, students in particular, would say, that's the best thing you ever did was put your hands on my hands.
It's funny that you say that because I started as an intern and Dr. Williams adjusted a patient through my hands.
Yeah. That's exactly what it
It
is.
was like the cutest thing I've ever seen.
I do that.
I don't know where he learned that.
That's funny.
Yeah, I've done that a few times when I do my seminars too for students.
Yeah.
I always feel like it's like a weird scene from The Ghost.
Right, exactly
Coming
right. Yeah,
over
the
and
claymation
playing the
going
clay.
on.
It looks a little strange.
No, but it's funny because it speaks to the touch that he's got.
Right.
He could go through me to know exactly how to correct that misalignment. That's the art.
Right.
Yeah, moving the neck in such a way to find where that glide in the facet joint is, because it's a little different on everyone. So you kind of feel where it's at, and then knowing where that end range is at without pushing too hard.
Right.
And then the quickness and the speed of it. There is a real art to that, and
speed and the
unfortunately,
force.
a lot of people without a good mentor never master that.
Yeah.
And it's you know what I would say that. It's one of the top things that helped build my practice was being able to adjust cervicals, adjusting necks. I have so many people that just come to me, and I know it was the same with you because I learned it from you, and I do it similar to you. And there's people, even still to this day, that used to see you, now will only see me because I do it like you. And some of those ones I've now passed off to Dr. Chris. And they'll only see Dr. Chris now because there's only certain people that can do it in a way that doesn't hurt,
Right.
and feels good. And I think that's an art that every young student in chiropractor should try to find a mentor to teach them that.
Yeah. How long into practice were you before you felt like, okay, this thing's cooking, I'm stable?
Well, I don't know. I think after 5 years, things were better. We weren't being chased by creditors. But then 10 years probably is where we really started to feel quite stable, and the practice was very busy. And it was during that 5 to 10 year mark that I realized that, I'm helping a lot of people. I still remember the first person in my practice that really confirmed that I was in the right place doing the right thing. And his name was, I'll call him Bob, and he came in and he was about the orneriest older man that you ever want to meet. And he came in and he thought he might want to get treatment. He was kind of skeptical, but he was very grumpy with my staff, and not quite as much with me, but that was the way he was. And so he had migraines, interesting enough. And so I started to treat him, and the staff noticed that he was not quite as grumpy. And after a few weeks, he would come in and start coming in smiling. And migraines basically were going away, and to the point to where finally they had gone. And I remember it must have been after about 6 weeks or so that I had been treating him. And he got up after his treatment, and he grabbed my hands, and he put them on his hands right up to my face so that I had to stare right at him.
No getting away from this one.
Yeah. And he said, "Dr. Alexander, you've changed my life." And it was a special moment for me because I was still early in practice.
Yeah.
And it confirmed to me that, okay, I really can help a lot of people.
It's a profound thing that we do.
Yeah.
It is.
So, and you probably had plenty of those experiences now, and through the years, I found that, man, the more people I can help, the better. And so we got to a point to where we were seeing as many people as I could physically see in a good way. So we were probably one of the highest volume practices in California at that time. And I loved it, but there is a limit. And so as far as how many you can physically...
What was your limit? I want to know.
Do you really?
I want to know.
We saw 173 in one day, but with some help.
Yeah.
And I found that when I stayed to chiropractic and I hired techs to do all the other things that were important for people and their health, that I got to be more and more expert in what I did. And I know what my expertise is. And I know that, some of the therapies are really good. And so we would have other people do those things. And I stayed to basically adjusting spines and extremities or whatever I needed to adjust. But
Thank you for sharing that, by the way, because I feel like a lot of doctors do wonder about it. There's a lot of docs out there that they want to get out there and I'm seeing this many patients or this and that, and I could tell you're like a little reserved to even want to say, you know what I mean, like, but it is nice to know that that's 173 people that you helped that day, and
right.
That's a big deal. And the fact that you remember that number so specifically,
sure.
It tells me that that's a legitimate number, and it gives us an idea of what's possible. You know what I mean? Because there is an upper limit of a physical possibility that can be done.
Well, and you're right. And you want to give the appropriate time to people. And so to be able to do that, you can be precise and you can give an adjustment in a fairly short period of time. And so you can see a lot of patients and help a lot of people, but they're, within what's right.
Of course.
So you still got me beat.
Really?
Yeah, my best day was 150.
Yeah.
It was I was new in practice. This little story, they had a little initiation ceremony that would happen when a new doctor got hired. All the doctors would leave and go skiing for the day. So my dad and Dr. Williams and Kyle left, and I had to see all the patients for the day. I was 150, but I had 9 new patients that day. We had to do a group X-ray.
If you're the California State Board, that was a joke.
And then we got back from skiing and found out all this.
Yeah. But you know what I found was I still gave good adjustments that day. I was exhausted. I don't know if I would want to see that many every day. I think, more around 50, 60. 60 is probably a good sweet spot for me. But there's a zone that you get in at a certain speed. And it's kind of like a sport almost, like the physical aspect of it. To me, like when I'm spending a long time with a patient, my hands get a little bit cold. Almost like if you've been sitting on the bench, you're playing basketball, you're sitting on the bench, you get a little cold.
And your mind gets a little unfocused.
Right. But there's a certain amount of time where you're not too fast, not too slow, where you get into this zone. And I feel like the adjustments are just like amazing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Flow state.
Yep. Yeah.
And it feels like your hands are working for you and you can just feel the misalignments. It's special.
Yeah.
And fun.
And fun.
I don't remember ever going to work and not having fun, and enjoying it. I pretty much. Well, I didn't enjoy it when the creditors were chasing us early on, but at work I always enjoyed. And there is a certain amount of people. Sometimes chiropractors will find that they see where they are invigorated. By the end of the day, they're not exhausted. And they build up to it usually, but they find where that is, where they can give great care in a fairly precise manner, and they get invigorated. I found that spot. It probably took me 10 years where that was, where I could see and help a lot of people enjoy it and not wear myself out, so that I could continue to do it for years.
I mean, you want to feel a little worn out. You want to feel like you put in a day's work, like you served, like you gave everything you had.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
But you also still want to have a little bit left in the tank to go home to your wife and kids, and have something for them too. But you feel good about it when you've kind of had a good day's work like that.
I think I was always better for my family after I worked.
Yeah.
I was always upbeat, happier, because our motto in the office always was, every person who comes through that door gets lifted, gets great treatment, and by the time they leave our office, they're higher than they were before they came in. Every visit.
So you always felt like it was more than just the physical part of it.
It was physical, it was mental, it was emotional. Yeah, most definitely, because all that plays into their health.
Yeah. And it's all stored in their nervous system too.
Yep.
All right, I got some fun topics for us.
What's up?
I'm gonna give Dad a minute if he wants to share any. If he's got any stories of young Dr. Matt Alexander that he wants to share. But you got to remember that I am your ride home today, and you already gave the keys back to me.
Your wife will come and get me. So.
Any stories for me, either in practice or just younger, that you think would be interesting to share at all?
I have lots of stories. I'm not sure. Well, they
of
probably would be
appropriate.
interesting, but I'm not sure I would want to share a number of them.
How many siblings do you have? You have
There's 6 of us.
Six
so
of you.
I got 4 sisters and a brother.
okay.
I'm the only chiropractor, but my oldest sister married a chiropractor, and so we all worked together for a little while, which was pretty fun.
We always did a lot of fun family things, but I remember one where your mom and I were out to dinner, and we get a call. I don't know if it was from you. It probably was. And your sister was chasing you around the house with a steak knife.
What'd you do to deserve that, Dr. Matt?
Yeah, why don't you confess? You never did tell us what you were doing.
Were you mischievous as a kid?
I had a lot of rife with one of my sisters growing up, which we're really good together now. But a little sibling rivalry. My kid's kind of going through that phase right now, so I feel like everything that I put my sister through and you guys through back then is coming back to me now at this point. So.
As a grandfather, it's so fun to watch. It's satisfying in many ways to see that. And that includes practice for you, to see you go through the things that you're going through in practice and how you're building and growing and really building on the foundation that I hope that I gave you. Because that's fulfilling for a father to see that and the good man that you've become and good doctor that you've become. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
What a moment here on the Alexander Integrated Method.
Oh yeah, we gotta get like a hug going on here. So I mean, seriously, looking back on 40 years now, do you know next year's 40 years? 2026.
I think we need a party.
40 years in practice.
Yeah,
Looking back
that's right.
at 40 years in practice now and seeing where you started to now, we're about to open our 5th practice, servicing well over 1,000 patients every week. Like, what is that, in the same loving, caring manner that you established? I mean, I definitely saw that as an opportunity. Like, you created something really great that you were proud of and I was proud of. And I saw the potential of, okay, I don't have to start from scratch in some other profession, I think that's a dying art that the sons carry on, the father's profession. So it just so happened that I felt the call for it. So it worked out and that I was able to build upon what you gave. I would not be this far along for sure without you. But what does that mean to you now to see, like, coming up on 40 years and seeing the growth of where we're at and the amount of people we're serving?
Well, it is about the people. One of my greatest fears in retirement would have been, what do I do with all these wonderful people that I've been treating? And there's a lot of people that come in on a regular basis to have supportive and maintenance care. And they were my family in essence. I cared a lot for them, and how do I leave them in somebody else's hands? And it was very I was excited when you actually did. I don't think I pushed you that way in any way, but you decided on your own. I remember when you called me when you're getting ready to come home from your mission, I think, and said, "Dad, what do you think about this?" I don't remember what I said exactly, but I think I was happy that it was your choice to do this, and because you have been adjusted by me so much through, your childhood years. You were a natural when you came in, and to this day, people will tell me your son is the closest to the way that you adjust as I've ever felt, and that's probably why they like to come and see you.
My jokes were better.
That's probably true. I like to listen to them, not tell them. But and so that was a fear in me coming up onto retirement. But as that time came and it matched over with when I would retire, it was an easy passover to hand it over to my son, and because I knew that he would take good care of people, and I knew that people wouldn't feel like I was abandoning them in retirement, which is what I did not want to do in any way.
Yeah, I can speak to myself that I felt at home at this practice, and I spoke about this in a podcast or two ago. These are going to be released weekly. But I felt like I was coming to a place where I could serve without any pushiness, with the patient-centered outcomes being the most important thing. And I'm having a blast just talking to your father, because currently I'm helping run it all, and we're trying to scale it in the same light. And I feel like I need to get on a call with your dad every couple of weeks just to get tidbits of little inspiration on what it was like growing it. But I wanted to ask you about the Healthy Spine Plan, because to me I have 100 of them. It's the foundation of my practice. It's the foundation of my philosophy with chiropractic, and it kind of comes from supposedly your brainchild. So can you tell me about the Healthy Spine practice and how it changed your practice, where it came from, and all the good stuff?
Let's elaborate what that is first, because listeners don't know what that is, right? So it's our monthly subscription. They pay a monthly fee,
maintenance.
Yeah, and they can come in every week, either as an individual or as a family.
All right. Well, at the point where we were quite successful as an office, as a chiropractic office, and we had multiple doctors working at the office, and they were all just really good. We felt like we were at a point where we could give something back to our patients, and we wanted to do that in the form of chiropractic care, meaning give them the affordability, the opportunity, the accessibility to be able to come in whenever they needed to and wanted to, as long as we felt that was needed, and so we'd built up quite a few patients over the years, thousands, and I don't remember what year we decided to implement this, but I thought, why don't we just create a plan where individuals or families could just come in, and they'd pay a monthly fee, reasonable monthly fee, and they could get the chiropractic care that they wanted and needed. And so we created the Healthy Spine Plan, and it was set up so that they could pay according to either their individual needs or their family's needs. And so we always felt like families ought to have chiropractic, be able to have that together. But man, if they're paying $60, $80 a visit to try and have chiropractic for
Family of 6,
mom and dad and 4 children or whatever it is, that's just almost unreasonable. And so we created a pretty darn reasonable plan, monthly amount that they could pay for a husband and wife, or for an individual, or for a husband and wife and kids, and I loved it because in the end, we were able to see families come in together and get adjusted on a maintenance basis after they had gone through whatever corrective care they needed. And that was one of the funnest times of practice, where they didn't have to worry about, should I go in or not? Do I have, $50 or
How many visits on my insurance do I have?
right? Yeah, and that was a big deal, because one of the things was very difficult for me in practice was to see people start to receive care according to what their insurance would pay.
Right. Oh gosh.
Which simply meant that
All the good vibes
as
are
the
gone.
as the years went on, they were receiving less and less care,
Right.
because insurance companies were cutting care or paying for it anyway.
Yeah.
This is the
And
way
so
the families could get it.
This way, the families could come in.
And I want to say, we were all pretty healthy growing up. We always got adjusted regularly from you growing up, and I think part of the reason why I probably didn't know that I wanted to be a chiropractor until later in life, because it was very normal for me.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people going to school had a story like yours, or you got a similar story
Yeah, I was
too.
gonna bring up the migraines,
It had this wow experience from chiropractic, and I never had that. I was just healthy the whole time, which, ideally that's how it would be, right? I just
Right.
didn't realize that's how you are as a kid. You don't realize how good you have it sometimes.
Oh, I know.
But my kids are the same way. Very healthy.
Yeah.
Don't take any medications, don't have aches and pains or anything.
There's a lot
like
of
that.
research on that.
And I know that chiropractic, we do other things to stay healthy too, but I know chiropractic has been a big part of that, because just comparing how my family growing up was and my family now is compared to the general population is a pretty stark difference.
Yeah, I don't even a lot of chiropractors, I'm not sure they understand how powerful the body is in healing itself. How when we give it opportunities through a fully functioning nervous system and through proper eating habits and lifestyles and exercise, how powerful it is to be able to take care of itself. And, even coming out of school, for instance, they used to say in school that children respond with ear infections, earaches. Mm-hmm. And I always thought, okay, whatever. I really did.
Yeah.
And then I had my first patient come in and say, I want to bring my daughter in because she has ear infections. And I'm like, okay.
Not going to hurt her.
Right. And so she comes in, and sure enough, I felt around, and she was too little really to be taking x-rays on her, so we didn't do that. But here's a 3-year-old little girl who'd had ear infections pretty much most of her life. As I start feeling around, I can feel, around the ears and everything, the lymph nodes and everything, how they're inflamed because those ears are infected. Look in the ears, I don't see too much except for redness and inflammation. And her atlas, her very top vertebrae, wasn't moving at all.
Yep.
And she was a little girl. And so I said, okay. So I start to adjust her atlas and get it mobilized, and had a little bit of rotation, but not significant. We'll get that fixed. But within 2 weeks, her infections started to go away, and they went completely away. And her mother, this was one where her mother kept her under care the way that probably we would have recommended. And she had maintenance care probably once a month after everything was taken care of as far as her ears go. And I think she's a chiropractic patient to this day, that little girl, and who is now probably 20.
Yeah.
Well, I know for a fact we have some patients in our Livermore office that have been seeing you. Like, their file numbers are like
Yeah, I was just
12 or something like that. There's still a few that have been there for almost
it's
40
pretty
years.
fun, and once again, we kind of talking about this. They started with Dr. Kurt, Dr. Matt, and now I'm taking care of them, and it's just
There's whole generations, right, of
Yeah.
these kids that came in under family plans
Right.
that understand the power that the body has to heal itself.
And that's the impact the healthy spine plan has had.
Yeah.
It's like I got a table in my garage. My family's got the life. They can just get adjusted whenever you want. The next best, closest thing would be a healthy spine plan.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that I wanted to pick your brain on it, because philosophy-wise, it's beautiful. Scalability, it's also beautiful. It can be the constant in every clinic as far as we want to take this company. Is the healthy spine plan. It's how the discounted joint operates. They have a maintenance plan. We're going to be the next best thing compared to that. It's going to be specific to your doctor.
The only thing about that model, and I think it is a great model, by the way, the joint model. They've brought chiropractic to a lot of underserved communities. In my opinion, they're skipping straight to the maintenance, right? And that is that end goal where we want to take people. But a lot of people coming in right off the street, you got to have an X-ray.
Yeah, they're not ready for it.
Like, you're not getting an X-ray at the joint. You got to have an X-ray. Maybe if a little baby or whatever, you're not going to X-ray them, but
and they might have somebody go get X-rays at a.
They might, but the model that is set up for them is more jump right to the maintenance, and I think there should be phases to care.
No doubt.
There needs to be an initial pain relief phase where you're getting people comfortable, and then a corrective care phase where you're actually fixing the underlying issue.
Right.
And then you go to maintenance thing. That's how life is. There are phases to
It
life.
really
There are
is.
phases to care. And I think that's a very important piece of our model. And I learned that from you.
Well, and we always have given people options, and that's kind of like good, best, better. They would come in. We would often, if not almost always, take X-rays unless somebody's pregnant or young children. And then we would look on the X-ray, and we could usually tell how long a condition has been going, even without them telling us, a lot of times. And then we would know maybe 95% of the time, okay, we can deal with this. This is something we can do. If we couldn't, we'd refer them out to whoever they needed to go see, an orthopedic or
of course,
a regular doctor or whoever. But if we felt we could help them, then we would tell them, and then we would give them options. So we can just put a Band-Aid on this, and just give an adjustment, and you'll feel better, and you just get a few adjustments until you're feeling better, pain-wise, and then that'll be it, if that's what you want to do. We could also take this, what's going on in your spine, and we can fix it probably to this amount, and that'd be the optimum. And that'd be where you'd feel the best, your nerves are functioning the best, that we can get you, and we'll have you do these exercise and these other things, and then we would recommend that we support that once it's fixed. Now, maintenance care, supportive care can be anywhere from once a week to once a month to once every 3 months, depending on the person. But someone who's had a chronic case for a while, usually it ends up being a little more frequent with maintenance. But if we needed to see him, 3 times a week to be able to get correction, then we would tell him that. But we would always say, but this is your choice.
Yeah.
You do what you feel good about. I'm going to tell you what it takes to fix it. I'm going to tell you what it takes to patch it. Now, if you choose patch, you'll probably be in my office in 3 months because it'll come back likely. But you choose. It's your choice. And then you choose whether you want to do maintenance care or not, and help retain what we've done over a number of weeks to correct. And we'd tell them the ups and the downsides of that.
Yeah, nothing's changed on that one. That's
But
exactly what we do.
We wanted people to be able to choose and not feel any pressure one way or the other. We'd give them our best educated, report on what we've found and what we know to be the best things, but they always chose. And we never made them feel badly if they didn't choose what we thought maybe would be best for them. Because we're doctors. We know some. We don't know everything.
Chiropractic.
I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I'm 69 years old. I'm still learning. So.
Well, I mean, that's part of what attracted Chris to the company. He mentioned earlier is, you have places like The Joint where they're not really giving much of a treatment plan. It's just the patient kind of comes in when they want, right? And then you have the other extreme of that where the doctor believes he knows best everything and the patient can pay thousands and thousands of dollars up front or they don't get care at all, right?
Yeah.
And I don't really resonate with either of those extremes.
Right.
For me, I resonate with the way you taught me, which is give the patient the information and then give them options.
Right.
Everybody loves options. I can pay per visit. I can buy a pack of 12. I can use my insurance. I can get my cash discount. We make it reasonable for them, and it makes chiropractic care, the barrier of entry to chiropractic care is a lot lower and a lot less scary when
Right.
you don't feel like you're going to be talked into something.
Right.
But you are going to get educated about what's going on.
Right.
They're going to do a thorough exam, check you out, give you a real treatment plan, and then it's up to you if you want to follow through with that. And sometimes, due to people's life circumstances, they choose not to totally follow
Right.
through with it. But because you didn't pressure them, guess who they now trust and respect and will come back to when they need you again.
And nor did they feel bad when, have to be embarrassed to come back.
Yeah.
Because we want everybody to be able to get care that they need and want.
You tell them what they need, give them what they want. And I love being able to walk around town and run into any patient that I've ever treated and always feel like I did them right.
Right.
And
No doubt about
I would
it.
never have to duck. Oh, I see someone here in Safeway. I got to duck in this other aisle so I don't talk to this person. I could see patients I haven't seen in years and give them a hug and be just excited to see them.
Well, I can tell you that's gone on for 40 years.
Yeah. And that's
Because-
a mic drop.
Because
And that's why I'm so passionate about expanding it, because there are those physical limits to how many people I can see.
Right.
We have the tools. We can literally put our hands on someone else's hands, show them how to adjust, teach them how to care for people the right way, and we can open up not just Manteca, but more clinics. 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 clinics that could do stuff like that and treat people the right way. I think that's how we change the face of chiropractic. That's how I feel like I can have the biggest impact of chiropractic. So, my mission is to find chiropractors who want that, show them how to do that, because there are so many chiropractors out there right now that they just don't know how to run a business. Their heart is in the right place.
Right.
But they were never shown the way of a business model. They don't understand how to make a healthy spine plan. They don't understand how to go out and market. They don't understand, they need somebody to show them this way. And I was fortunate enough to have a dad. And so thank you that showed me those things. And I feel like now it's my duty to then pass that on to Chris. And Chris now has the duty to help me pass it on.
Yeah, I feel honored that I get to bring what you started to the next level.
Well, it's a beautiful thing to be able to see what's continuing on from a foundation laid. And I think there's not a doctor that comes into our practice that doesn't understand that, number one, in this practice, is we care about people. And they don't care about your treatment until really they understand how much you care about them. And when they feel that, and it's sincere and it's genuine, and they know that we as doctors are going to do everything that we can to do good for them, to help them. It's funny how that's a mutual benefit. If you come into practice thinking, I'm in it for me and I'm going to make lots of money as a doctor and it's all about me, that's a mistake. It really is, because it's not about me. It never was about me. It was about everybody else. But that benefited me through many years. And I will never, ever regret and always be thankful and feel blessed that I got to serve people in a health profession like this and help people live in the thousands, I think.
Definitely.
Healthier and happier lives.
Very
It
good.
just goes to show that making the right choices earlier in life, when you built the principles for your practice, that those are being magnified and carried on.
Yes, absolutely.
And you didn't choose, you could have made other choices that weren't great, and those could be magnified in a different way, right?
I can't imagine. Who knows where I'd be if I didn't make that decision? Jail.
Unfortunately, you see some of that going around too, you know. So it's we're lucky to have people like you, you know, people like Jerry Clum, people like, you know, the leaders in the profession, the early day chiropractors, the Gonsteds, and you know, we all built upon those people that did this and created this foundation for us, and now it's our turn to, you know, build upon that.
Can't wait to see what's next.
Yep.
Very good.
Alrighty.
We wrap this up.
Well, thanks for coming out, Dad. Appreciate you. Love you.
It's been great.
All right.
Do I have to go back to Utah?